experience in youth there. You just talk us through your thinking on the composition of that team. I see you've got experience around Jordan and there's young and there's old.
Yeah, I think the first thing is, we're trying to, obviously we didn't, as I always say, we didn't have a chance in 2020 to kick on and really put some more layers onto our game and things that we want to get right. And then 2021 was the British Irish Lions and then only 2022. I think we're now fortunate that COVID is not here anymore, and we at some stages had to throw in sometimes 18, 19 new players, like against Wales and some away Argentinian test matches too, which wasn't ideal, and sometimes we lost most of those matches. So yeah, what we're trying to do is just make sure that we still are where we are and where we can be and where we were last year in terms of our core things, how we play the game. Can we still do those things? I think that's the most important thing. And then obviously what Tony's bringing and everybody, Jerry, Dion, Stocker, everybody with the new and darn things we're trying to do, we want to put on top of that. And I think if we just throw a bunch of young guys in, which we would love to do, we definitely won't know if we've lost our foundation. So I think this is probably picked on the basis that let's just make sure we are where we were and let's start building on top of that. So that's more or less the thinking.
Congratulations to the new players as well, and everyone as well. I think was it easy to select these new debutants in the squad, especially the two players, Lions players that are starting today? And what is the thinking behind these players that you selected, the debutants?
No, obviously we have to have our long-term hat on whilst or trying to win current test matches, and the Bulls players are not available. The Stormers players only really trained with us 2 days, and I would say we announced a team internally yesterday, and then the Stormers players only trained last week, Thursday and Friday with us. And as I say, the Bulls guys are not available, and a lot of the Premiership guys are not available, and 1 or 2 guys that plays in France. The benefit of Ivan's play test matches for us, so that's easy. It will, the way he's been playing and training, and had the opportunity to train with us a full week, you could see things that we wanted to see. And then the other debutants, Sasha was with us at the SAA tour last year. He got a bit of an injury there. He played the SAA games, but he mainly trained with the Springbok team on that side. Jordan, we've always rated who comes through the ranks. Again, I wouldn't say in a fortunate position to have trained with us the whole week, because I think the Bulls are in a good position to win for us a trophy for South Africa, so that's great. But it does help us to know that you don't just pick a guy who fell out on Saturday and he had 1 training session with what he's trying to do. And who's the other one that's making it fussy? Ben Jason. We certainly has been looking at him, and there's a few others that's really bad luck or not making the squad currently. We do look for Peter Stiff to a line out, typical South African 7 flanker, momentum getting, momentum stopping. And again, he was at the alignment camps the previous 2 weeks when we were in Cape Town. So some guys are just really fortunate to have settled in and understand what we're trying to do. And we felt putting them in the mix with experienced guys around them, which we didn't have the luxury of in the past just because of COVID, is given us a chance to not throw in 7, 8 new guys at the same time, because sometimes you throw them to the wolves. But with having experienced guys around them, these guys can take ownership now and just concentrate on their job and don't have to watch too much about leading and those kind of things. They can just do what we picked them for.
I'll ask a question.
How are you, man?
Since you've been the director of rugby and now into the coaching coal phase, what is it that you wanted to make sure you get across to this new group, to this new cycle? that you are happy about going to this test?
Yeah, I think the first thing, I think as the director of rugby role, you wanted surely to make sure that after a sudden win of a World Cup in 2019, that it isn't a short-lived thing, that it's thing that can continue. And I do know that a head coach, would love to concentrate just on rugby and the day-to-day things and managing the training sessions and planning and working on guys' passes and line-outs and working with the assistant coaches and sometimes there's a lot of other noise that you have to deal with. And I think if somebody hasn't been through all of that, and especially in South Africa, because we've got passionate media, we've got passionate crowds, and we are passionate about them. And sometimes it does distract you, that you can't just focus on how to be a better rugby team, how to play better, how to manage better, how to coach better, how to train better, and take full ownership of that. So I do think also me stepping a little bit aside, but being full on involved when Jacques was the head coach. I mean, I know there was a lot of questions asked when Jacques was the head coach, but the guy won a World Cup, which is great, and I certainly now that 4 years of me trying to keep that away from him and the coaching squad and the players, that they can focus solely on rugby. Now I've got that under the belt, and I sort of understand and I hope what to listen to, and when it's really advice, and when it's really just people who's a bit upset, or when it's criticism, and when it's fair and when it's not fair, and just understand that there's just a lot of passion and love in South Africa for the Springboks and for the Springboks for South Africa. And I think what we as this group are fortunate is that we can just take on with it. It's not something we have to rebuild again. And the only way to do that is train and work and let the main thing stay the main thing. So I would say that helps a lot.
I was going to ask you, I can ask this question to Edward, but I'm going to ask you as the coach, as a very experienced, seasoned person. Do you as a coach, a person who's been out for the past 8 years, part of winning 2 World Cups, do you still get butterflies? Do you still get excited about the start of a new 4-year cycle? And is there any pressure on you now trying to keep up with what you guys done in the past 8 years?
Yeah, I think the pressure will always be there, and yeah, sometimes you're a bit worried about something because injuries or because something that you planned didn't really go as well in training as you hoped, or something that you tried to say in a team meeting didn't come out quite right, and you're not sure if the players understand that, and those little self-doubts and stuff will always be there. But then again, if you've got a coaching team around you and a management team around you, and you pick the right players with the right attitude and with the potential, they help you sometimes and be honest with you and say, but we didn't quite get that, or we don't think that will work, and having a guy like Dwayne around who still played last year, who's roaming between the women's team and the under-20s, and just making sure that sometimes we think we're very relevant. We played still in 2004. This way packing as a flanker is still the way to go. But you get guys who's playing week in, week out against the best players in the world, and they correct you sometimes and say, Rassie, but that doesn't work anymore. That's old school. Can we try this way or that way? So butterflies, definitely. You're representing your country. You want to be successful. You have to think a little bit long term. You have to care about the players, not throw 1 or 2 of them to the wolves and let them whole career get buggered up by you wanting to try something, making sure you're managing them, and also making sure that they feel comfortable being themselves and do why they got picked. So yeah, it's a great privilege, honor, and yeah, you do get nervous.
Rassie, Wales didn't have the best Six Nations. I think they're going to this game on 4 or 5 defeats in a row. You and Warren have butted heads a few times.
Yeah.
What are you expecting from Wales this weekend?
Yeah, the things change so quickly. Just look where we were in 2018, and then a year later we won the World Cup. you can just see where Italy was 2 years ago and what Italy did now currently. You know, a team like Portugal just turned it around and did really great things at the World Cup. A team like England were written off, and then they went on a 5-game winning spree, you know, before we beat them only just in the World Cup. So we definitely, that's why I'm saying the first target is on Saturday. Is our base still there? Is the things that we do well and we can do well, is that still there? Of course, we want to build on that, and we want, when we struck 2027, we want to be a much better team. So Warren is a very clever coach. We always find the Wells a more South African type of team who also like to grind it out and go with you to the dark and tough places. And I know we're playing at Twickenham, but I'm pretty sure there'll be a lot of South African and Welsh supporters, neutral ground. We enjoyed the game last year against the All Blacks there, and yeah, I think Warren will definitely get his guys up, and a five game losing streak. You can also look at it the other way. The last 10 games we played, it's 5-all. You know, so yeah, I think that's something of the past. This Saturday is something new.
Rassie, obviously you guys focused on this week now, but just in terms of looking a bit into a couple of weeks' time with Ireland, how much did you learn from the Bulls game on Saturday? And I mean, other than the South African team possibly winning a trophy, how much did you take out of that game?
Yeah, look, we played Ireland in our pool match, and we lost, and they beat us well. They beat us. You know, we've got lots of respect for how they do things, and we always see Leinster as this team who's almost a perfect club in terms of bringing players through and their chain of players and their succession planning. Myself, I've coached there and I've seen their model and how they do it. And one can just say, flipping well done to the Bulls. I mean, it's with losing so many, I would say, star players, real star players before a big game like that, and going into a match and not a lot of things did go their way in a match, and losing guys with concussion here and there, and it's just a really gutsy performance, and it's I think it's a typical South African performance, not giving up, and I don't think a lot of people expected that result. I think a lot of us hoped for that result, you know, because it's and not to say that that's going to make the Irish series easier, because they have now played 3 games in South Africa, Leinster. I think they lost against the Lions and now twice against the Bulls. But they would have experienced Loftus. You know, the crowd. I know it wasn't a full house, but they were busy and they were loud. And yeah, we're proud. We're proud that Jake did that with the team. And there's certainly a few players there that showed that maybe sometimes we always look and think that system is better or that system is better. But I don't think the Bulls system is too far off.
In your view, managed themselves this week into a new situation that they probably would have never really been in before, in terms of pressure, in terms of attention, in terms of expectation.
The Bulls players?
Yeah.
How they handled them this week?
Yes.
Yeah, no, I think with Jake there, you know, Chris Rousseau, Gary Gold, with experienced coaches there, they certainly have a CEO and that's it's you can see they're going in the right direction. You can see with the juniors how they plan and how things come through, and you can see what Jake tried to do when he you know, he sort of put his, I don't want to say this 100% like this, but his URC hat on, and almost said, let's take it step by step before we try to win both tournaments. You know, let's build. And he's always say, let's pay our school fees. And I think he stuck to his words, and he got that right. A challenge will be for them, just like for Franco and his team. It's nerves. It is a final. You don't get another chance. And there will be some guys who's probably in a team you have to manage different, that might think things will just happen, but that Jake will know how to handle. And there's other guys that will be hell of a nervous, and there's other guys who just know how to handle the situation. And if you look at that Bulls team, there's a spread of from Willie, who's played almost 100 test caps, to a Cameron who just the other day came on the scene and they really did well. And then from a Wilco who was just always renowned for really scrumming well, started cleaning out guys from all over the place. Robbie's, a lot of guys in that team who put up their hands and show the physical side of the Bulls, but also the beautiful side of the Bulls with the tries they scored. So I guess try and do the same what you did last week and last week during the week, and hopefully the result goes our way.
Rassie, into Eva. A guy like Dwayne in the current configuration of the setup, how important is he in terms of the dynamics of the youngsters, the experienced players, and also for you, the staff, as a person that we all know to be a standard driver?
Yeah, I don't know if other teams has ever done this, what we've done, and I think we also, most of you guys saw Chasing the Sun too, and he's a guy with a strong opinion, but he's also a guy that knows won 2 World Cups and played all over the world in France, and he played for the Stormers and for the Cheetahs in all different competitions in Super Rugby, and he's definitely a guy that don't just help players, he helps coaches as well, because sometimes we get a little bit out of touch because you don't physically know how a breakfoot and a scrum really influence, and Bongi and Malcolm might tell you, but Dwayne can tell you, listen here, I feel this because I still packed behind Ergis Neyman last week. He can help a guy like Ivan roaming in the lineouts when supporting and contesting. And it's not to say he's this wonderful coach, but he's very relevant in what's currently. And again, there's like four rule changes that we going to be playing under. Sometimes we as coaches think this will have a massive impact. But then when you get his input, again, I don't say he's the world's best coach. He certainly has a lot to learn, and he's certainly not going to work with us at the Springboks. He's going to work with all and help and assist and focus on certain areas and help Bafana with the junior box and SA schools and really be a Moby coach. But it's just to sometimes you don't have that luxury of players always coming up to you and say, listen, but there is a better way than this because we know it and we feel it. And that's what we're expecting from him, and he's doing that currently.
I know that it's not the first time we made named debutants the starting lineup, it's happened before, but for the debutants, their first experience out there. What do you usually say to them to calm down since the first experience?
Yeah, I think if it was, let's say we were in our third year, 2026, just before the World Cup here, a guy like Cheslin, when we got him in, it was the Monday before we played New Zealand. We were already in New Zealand, and he was even not in camp. For a guy like him, we probably say, hey, Ches, you do what you do, But then there is systems, certain things that's mechanical that you have to get right. How you scrum, how you maul, your defense system sometimes, those kind of things that one has to adapt to, because the Stormers and the Bulls and the Sharks and the Lions don't do all things exactly the same. But I guess the message is, if the boys can help me out, what we're trying to get across is that let's do the thinking and the hard work and the conditioning and the fundamental things that we want to get right. Let that come automatically by training it. So you shouldn't have a list of 30 things on Saturday that I want to tick off and want to get right. You learn as much as you can through the week and try and fall in. But then on Saturday you go and do what you picked for. He's picked for a certain reason. He's going always flat out. He chases lost causes. He's really good on communication. He runs hard. He works hard, and he probably has to adapt to a little bit of a new defense system, a bit of an attack system. But when he goes onto the field on Saturday, there shouldn't be a lot of thinking. be Edwell on Saturday but work hard through the week. So I think if we can get that kind of mindset right, then every week we can build a little, and maybe get that third story right after we got the 2 World Cups, if we do it right.
Guys, let's just do Afrikaans, please. We're running out of time quickly, and then if there's a chance.
Rassie,